Is there a snag in the Diomande to Rangers transfer saga? Does Abdallah Sima actually want to stay at Rangers? How do we stop Rangers' dreadful winter break curse? And will Shankland ever become a Rangers player? We'll talk about all of this in our first episode of the blueSea news series. Stay tuned. So I thought I'd test the waters, a little news series that we'll do now and again when, obviously, mostly throughout the transfer windows when the news is absolutely booming, but we'll try to do it throughout the season as well, just as a wee video to keep all you updated, bring a lot of the rumours around transfers and club news into the one place, into this kind of bite-sized video, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Now, one of the biggest transfer stories and most polarising is the Shankland to Rangers saga. Now, Naismith has confirmed that after missing the last Scottish Cup game that Shankland's actually returned to training, and you know as well as I do that this has been dragged on more than just this window. It's been dragged on over other transfer windows as well, but there's genuinely been no indication from the club, obviously, but from other fan media outlets or in the know fan media outlets that Shankland's actually officially linked to the club. But at the same time, previous rumours have been squashed by the club. They've told other fan media outlets about their lacky intention to sign certain players. Throughout all of these rumours that have been popping up here and there that have caught a bit of traction, Shankland has never been a rumour that the club have seen to want to squash. And let's be honest, this is a transfer rumour that's going to keep going and going and going and going until one or two things happens. Either the club come out and say, listen, stop it, we're not interested, never been interested, or the club actually turn round and sign him. So we're going to be hearing about this transfer rumour, whether it's peddled in the media or not, for the foreseeable future. Now, obviously, if you're asking my opinion on it, yeah, I'd love Shankland to come to the club, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to happen very, very quickly. Hearts are very stubborn with evaluation of the player, and obviously with a little amount left in his contract, we're not going to want to pay that price, so it's going to be a saga that's going to go on for a good while. All I will say is that it's interesting that he missed Hearts' last Scottish Cup tie, which if he played would have seen him cup tied if he moved to a different team. So make of that what you will. Now, obviously, a bit of news for a player that's already with us, and that's Abdallah Sima. His agent coming out and basically saying that he would absolutely love to stay at Ibrox after the current loan period. His agent saying he likes the atmosphere of the club, he feels comfortable and definitely wants to stay. I mean, for me, keeping Abdallah Sima is an absolute no-brainer. On top of that, the fact that he is injured is a bit of a bummer, to be honest. It means that we're going to have to go out into the market and try and find a replacement, because to me, Scott Wright, Matondo, McCausland doesn't really scream title chase. I mean, yes, McCausland has done extremely well, and I expect him to be one of the main features of the team, but again, we need that experience, we need that cutting edge that comes with a player that's succeeded in that position for a while. And obviously Matondo's never really found his place in the team either, which is why Sima's found it so easy to take that left hand side when needed. Now, obviously, the problem that stands with the Abdallah Sima transfer is how much Brighton are actually going to want from him, because let's be honest, it's not going to be a small amount, and then basically the transfer hangs in the balance of, can Rangers negotiate a much better deal, not a slightly better deal, but a much better price tag to bring him to the club full time. So what I want you to do is I want you to jump into the comments. I want you to let me know about your opinion on Sima, whether we should keep him or whether we should let him go after the loan period. Do you think it's justified to pay close to what the price tag Brighton are wanting for the player? Let me know. Now, this is something that's really haunted us as fans, especially over the past few seasons, and it's the winter break. The winter break has been a tragic time, or specifically after the winter break, it's been a tragic time to be a Rangers fan. We've seen it under Gerrard, we've seen it under the likes of Gio as well. There's something about this squad in the winter break that just do not mix. Many times have we seen Rangers go into that Christmas period and winter break doing the hard work, and then all of a sudden we've completely fell away for the rest of the season. Well, today the news came. The FA released the news of a best case scenario for us especially. No more is that winter break curse, because it's completely abolished. The FA have announced that come next season there will no longer be a winter break. The reason for this being is the expansion of European competition that UEFA has put forward, meaning that Scottish clubs are going to find it more difficult to fit in those domestic fixtures, and the only way the FA could solve that problem is to remove the winter break and play games throughout that period. And let's be honest, sitting here for almost 3 weeks with absolutely nothing to watch but bog standard heavy favourites in FA Cups and the Carabao Cups and lower league football, which is decent to watch, but it's just no the same without watching a Rangers game. Now, over the past couple of weeks, it feels like after the Silva deal, transfer news at Ibrox has been completely dead, and fans have really started to worry, especially because the only players that, as I said in my last video, the only players that were getting linked to the club were because of, fan scouting channels and fan media outlets linking these players, doing player profiles, doing the stat charts and graphics and telling all of the fans, hyping them up, getting them excited about these specific players, only for the club to come along and say, look, we're not interested. Well, finally we've got a solid transfer prospect there. The Rangers are extremely close to the signing of Mohamed Diomande. Now, the news has been broke for a while, but this is the closest we've ever been to signing him, having passed his medical. We get news about his medical, having passed his medical. All that's left to do is for him to come over to Glasgow and sign in the dotted line, hold that scarf above his head. And the longer things go on, we as fans obviously get nervous, but there isn't really anything to worry about. The only delay within the full transfer saga is the fact that the player can't currently reach Glasgow due to the fact there's trees lining the road and trampolines getting blasted through folks' living room windows. Nevertheless, as I'm filming this video, the storm has actually passed, so we'll be expecting in the next couple of days to see this transfer go through. And for once, it's actually good to see Rangers steering it away from their usual kind of transfer business, their usual markets that they like to explore, perfectly summed up by MBS 1872, who said, really hope this is the type of signing we go for going forward, hopefully an end to the rinse and repeat strategy of the fallen. Lost their way in the English leagues and are vastly overpriced. Journeymen with limited resale value and ability, injury prone players who, if we can just get fit, used to be decent players looking for one last hurrah on decent wages. And let's be honest, it's hard to disagree. A lot of the time we have shopped in that maybe championship market or went down south and looked for players who, performed at a top level at one stage but fell out of favour at clubs, whether it's due to attitude problems, whether it's due to ability, and thinking that they're not playing the best, they're on the bench, they've not played in months, but it's going to be different up here, we'll completely change them, we'll get the best out of them. That strategy doesn't always work, and in my opinion, my hot take is if Cantwell keeps going down the road that he's currently going down performance wise, he's going to be lumped into the categories in this tweet. For me, he's just not given enough over the past few games. Now that winter break's done and it's over with, we finally jump into some pretty meaty fixtures, to be honest. We've got Hibs, we've got St Mirren, we've got Livingston, we've got Aberdeen, clubs that right now are performing quite decent, and clubs that we've always kind of struggled with in the past, who have proved they can kind of almost impose an upset on us. But in my opinion, if we win these next 4 games and we also take advantage of the rest of the transfer window and bring in players like Diomande, then there's no reason why we can't fully believe in ourselves that we can go for a title push. Now, before us and a lot of other fan media outlets have said that the difference between Rangers winning the title and Celtic winning the title is who's going to have a better January window, and it's a notoriously difficult window to explore, especially for us, considering we pretty much blindly gave Michael Beale 20 million quid to absolutely spaff in the summer. We need to bear in mind that there is financial fair play implications of that, and that is a lot of fucking money to give to a manager who's never had any experience, one, as a manager, and two, as a director of football. But to me, Clement's come in, he's imposed what he's wanting, we're starting to shop in, looks like, better, more exciting markets like the Scandinavian market. So really in the last kind of period of the transfer window, who knows, there's players that are heavily linked that the club end up kind of chopping down, and there's players like Diomande who no one's, I don't even think I've seen a player profile or any scouting pages say anything about him. I don't think I've seen him mentioned in the same sentence as Rangers until this news kind of broke out of nowhere that Rangers were on the verge of signing him, which in my opinion, if that's the way we want to go about our business, then I say fair play, I'm all for it. But what I want you to do is I want you to jump into the comments, let me know what you think of this new potential signing, let me know what you think of the Shankland news, let me know what you think of the news of the winter break getting abolished, and what you think of the fixtures coming up and the title chances at Ibrox. Remember, the blueSea channel memberships are still available. The link to that is down in the description next to our socials, and I'll see you next time.